giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go.
Good morning, good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live. We are streaming live on YouTube, and of course, I am your host, Will Skywalker Steele. Boom! What's happening, people? Coming up today, taking a look at what the Mike, and Mike crew had to say. Their thoughts on the current state of these here Dallas Cowboys, ladies and gentlemen. They had some things, at least two of the mics, concern me a little bit. So we're going to dive into that. We will be diving into that, ladies and gentlemen. No phone lines today. The way we're going to do this production here, we're going to take a listen at what a couple of the mics said. We're going to then dive in a little bit to the film room. Scott, why the hell you keep saying we, man?
But wait, there's more.
Let me tell you why.
Beats Planet.
Watch! Lombardi gets spread! What's good, brother?
Can you hear the people scream? Can you hear the people scream his name?
It just feels good.
Can you hear the people scream his name? Oh,
Voch
Will
says
Steele.
this. Good morning, sir.
Will Steele, I'm here to have a good day. All love and positivity. Good vibes around here.
Man.
I ain't got nothing bad to say about nobody. But these mics finna get their ass smoked around here. These mics getting on my damn nerves, bro. I wish they would. I wish Mike McCarthy would have a job next Monday. I wish Mike Solari would have a job next Monday. I wish Mike Zimmer would have a job next Monday, this guy.
I feel you, fam. I feel you. They say it's some nonsense, brother. They say it's some nonsense. We're going to dive into it. What we're not going to do is get back into the seriousness of what happened the other day. But I did find it hilarious, though, that Jerry just crashed out, though. I mean, on a funny tip. The serious tip, it sucks. But the funny tip, seeing old bruh crash out live was kind of wild in real time.
Let me tell you the funny part about him crashing out. He was talking to Sean and them, and he was like, "Well, what you trying to ask me about what happened in the offseason?" And Sean was like, "Yeah." Yeah, I'm trying. That's what I'm asking you about. Well, where are all these players at? What you mean?
And then an hour later, two players get traded to two teams trying to compete. Yeah, man. It was a wild day, brother. Wild day on the internet streets. But shouts out to the Bomb Squad real quick. Hold up.
Bomb Squad!
And shouts out to, do I still got my lighter clip? The Blue Flame. I don't got the lighter for you, but man, but the Blue Flame. Shouts out to y'all. I like how you added the blue fire pit or whatever. Fire. Oh, that's hard.
It's vibes, man. It's vibes.
That's
you know,
hard.
I'm trying to be like you and evolve, man. I don't want to just sit around and do the same thing every day.
I'm still trying, man. I'm still evolving, bro. But what's good, Cowboys Nation? What's good to my brother Voch Lombardi, man? It's good to have you back on. We knew this was coming soon. And we always say, you know, be patient, but I promise y'all, slow motion is some motion. Unlike the Cowboys, we got some motion going on.
Boy, we just like, hey, look, y'all just hang tight, keep getting good grades. We're going to give you a PS5. Just hang tight. Just hold on. They tired of holding on, Scott. They sick and tired of holding on, but it's coming, man. Y'all just hang in there. We on the way.
We on the way, man. We on the way. All right, so let's get in this Cowboy stuff real quick, man. I hit up Voch and said, man, I need you to come on here because we're eventually going to talk about some run game stuff, some O-line stuff, and I need your expertise, brother. But before we get into that, was a tease because I want y'all to stick around for that. We're going to jump into the film room. before we get into that, the mics was talking, bro. And, you know, this year's been tough to listen to the pressers, right? Like, when you get blown out the way you get blown out, it's hard to go back and listen. But I found myself saying, all right, let me go listen to what they're saying. And you'll come away with some stuff that concerns you. And maybe because of what Jerry did crashing out, maybe because of the trades. Mike Zimmer said something, Voch, in his presser the other day that made me say, wait, why are we not talking about this? This is Mike Zimmer on the beginning of that game there. Here we go.
I anticipate us playing better than we did this last ball game. I probably panicked on some calls early because they hit us with some things early, and so I changed up a little bit, probably a little too soon. But as far as some of the flaws, it's when we've been bad, it's like it just steamrolls. It goes bad. So
hold on, wait a minute.
Moke said, man, look, I got hit in the nose so hard. I said, hold on. I said, wait,
time out. Let me
wait, he hit me in my eye. Hey, yo, Scott, you see somebody get into a fight and they say, let me see your phone so I can look at my eye real quick.
No, Kevin Hart said, my dad got punched in the face so bad, change came out his pocket.
Scott, we only laughing to keep from crying. Why would you tell me this?
Dog.
Why would you tell us the general public that, don't you know his boss watching? Why would he say this? Why his boss watching? Why his players trying to figure things out? Man, I ain't gonna lie though.
I panicked.
That motherfucker came out in that 3x1. I wasn't ready.
I wasn't ready for it. But in all seriousness, how does that make you feel as a player in that locker room when you hear your leader of the defense, coaching wise, the guy who calls the plays, the guy who's responsible for putting you in position, say, I panicked?
When it rains, it pours, Scott. When it rains, it pours, and when we win when we had one great game versus Cleveland, it felt great to be a part of this thing. You know what I'm saying? But when you losing, it feels bad to be a part of this thing, right? So we only can do what the coach tells us to do. So, all right, we got whooped out here. Let's look to the coach for some answers. If he ain't got the answers, who else we supposed to be looking to? Yeah. They don't look at us, Scott. We got answers, but we just do with cameras, microphones, and 3 TVs on our desk. You know what I'm saying? We don't know nothing, Scott. But if the dude that you go to looking for answers ain't got the answers and he got nervous, I don't know where you go, and it could be demoralizing for some guys in that locker room.
I happened to look over and my man said it can't be. I mean, I have to be honest. Nelson said, I gotta be honest. I like the accountability. I don't know that saying.
Lie to me.
I don't know that. I don't know that saying you panicked is being accountable. Every time they lose, he comes out and says, "I got to be better." You say that's I got to be better or whatever. Don't tell me because Bill Parcells used to say, "Hey, I'm talking to the players sometimes through the media."
Sure.
Like Bill used to do some things in the media purposefully to get to the players. The players see that, bro. Yeah. I don't know if Mike is telling these dudes behind the scenes, "Hey man, I got shook."
Sure.
Shook once. I was panicking a little bit. I doubt he probably telling them that. But in the public, he's saying, "I got a little nervous and I panicked and I didn't know what to do." Like I said, as a player, now I'm like, hold on, man, wait a minute. We already out here scrambling around, not playing good as is, and trying to figure these things out. Now you telling me you don't even know what to do. You out there getting shook and panicked. Yeah, that bothers me a little bit here. And I don't know that it's necessarily accountability. Accountability, somebody said accountability equals consequences, right? Like do something about it. I don't know what he can do about continuing to get his ass whooped, 3 out of 4 games. Sure. But I mean, I sure if him admitting he panicked is accountability and you like it, more power to you. To me, I've heard these coaches multiple times this year now talk about panicking, lack of preparation, wrong game plans, and I'm sorry, I can't get jiggy with this shit.
And it also does a lot for like the general mood of your locker room. Like let's just say, for example, we're the Lions guys, right? Mm-hmm. And we go, all right, man, the player versus player talk. The player versus player stuff is already going to be tough, man. Like if I'm a Lions offensive lineman, right? It's already in my mind hard enough to deal with the Cowboys D line, but I also get to go, hey man, but man, Ben cooking up something over there that's gonna have us beating the hell out them. All like if I'm, like if I'm Gibbs or if I'm St. Brown or something, like, hey man, they got Diggs and all those other guys is gonna make it tough. But boy, I just know Ben cooking something up. Our players don't have that. Our players don't have that layer of confidence in our coaches to where we can go in, even if we're even player wise. We don't have that advantage to where the coaches can put us over the edge. And I think the players know that. And
it's it's again, it's stacking. Really, we talk about stacking good days. Earlier in the year, you heard Zim say, "Man, we were caught by surprise." He said this multiple times. I don't know if y'all know. He said this multiple times. Hey, man, we didn't expect them to do X, Y, Z. The Saints, we didn't expect them to come out in base or 12 personnel type form. You didn't? What the hell were you watching? Sure. If you didn't, because they did that on film, right? Man, we had the wrong game plan against the Ravens or whatever. It's just, I don't know, man. How many times I want to hear this? At some point, to get the right game plan. Don't panic. Make the changes, whatever. And I get it. He was shorthanded. It's just hearing that Voch to me it took me by surprise a little bit. Don't hear coaches say that.
And also too, man, you can't tell me that with that voice. You know what I'm saying? You at least, like, he didn't sound confident. Like his voice he's already kind of, soft spoken and whispery. But you can't use that voice and whisper and tell me you got nervous, you got scared, man. Come on, man. I don't feel confident after listening to Mike Zimmer talk like that.
Well,
I'd rather have Dan Quinn up here. I'd rather have Dan ain't never sound like that.
Dan would have gave us a warrior speech before, and then he would have said, "Okay, now we're taking questions." 5 minutes after this, that's how Dan. Mike don't want nothing to do with these damn pressers. And at first, I was cool with it, but as the weeks are going on, I'm like, "Hey Zim, you sound like you don't know what the is going on, dog."
Sure.
It kind of sounded like the game passing them by a little bit. I'm just keeping it a beat, which took me by surprise because he wasn't away from it that long. But
it happens fast, and the game changes fast, and you just can't be sitting out for a year talking about, I'm just gonna come back and hit the ground running. Because even if you go, all right, Ben Johnson, everything you did last year, I'm gonna come up with some sort of plan for it. Ben Johnson this year ain't the same Ben Johnson he was last year, so he's getting better. And you kicking it with Deion Sanders. That ain't, man, you ain't get better with him. So
something else that I noticed within watching these pressers was McCarthy. So Mike McCarthy had his 2.5 hour late presser the other day. And I said, all right, I'll tune in. I'll listen. Let me hear what he's got to say. And before I do that, let me preface with this. I kind of joked around Tuesday after watching the game, getting the feel. And I say this often. I said this before the Steelers game, and I'm saying after the Detroit game, Voch. Sometimes to me, it feels like from a game plan standpoint, the Cowboys come out as if they're down 21 to 28 points in the third quarter, and it's the first and second possession.
Sure.
Like they come out in this, pun intended, panic type mode where, hey, man, we got to score 14 points on this possession. It's not possible. Hey, man, we don't give a damn about a first 15. We don't care about setting anything up. We're just we got to get out here. We got to go, right? We're already playing on our heels. It just looks like that. It looked like that against the Ravens. It looked like that against the Saints. It looked like that against, and I know these are all games they lost. It looked like that against this last opponent, the Lions, right? And I listened to Mike. And Mike basically confirmed this. He essentially came out and admitted, that was a bad game plan. We had a bad game plan. This was Mike McCarthy on trying to win a sprint against a team that's faster than you.
I think it's been a hard truce, playing, maybe we have to take a hard look at the way we played that game, So that's what we've done as a staff. Did we try to get into a sprint with a car that was going faster than we were? That we couldn't keep up with, so you just all those things. So I think you have to look at all that, reassess. It'll always start with the health of the team when they get back, and we'll have a good plan to go out there in San Francisco and get that win.
I don't never want Mike to be huffing and puffing, talk about sprinting with somebody. I don't want Mike McCarthy to even make it sound like he running anywhere. Bro.
Voch, do cars sprint?
Cars don't sprint.
I thought I was going crazy for quiz.
Cars don't sprint.
He meant to say race with a fast car. He done mixed up his sprints and his races. He said we done got into a spot with a fast car.
You could tell when Mike just up there thinking of an analogy, trying to make it. He just like, well, it's like, well, you ever seen a giraffe race a lion? It doesn't happen. One's normally chasing the other, and
it's just like anything, man. When you're trying to outswim a lion in the sea, you just never know. You might have to be the turtle. Excuse me, Mike.
You might have to be the turtle. Scott, man, just listening to Mike, bro. Just listening to him, and if you watch the game plan, like you said, Scott, it looked like that. It looked like it. And once the Lions realized that, like, all right, we'll just drop 8. We'll just drop 8 and make you throw into it. You're not going to do anything, to get out of this or anything like that. And the Cowboys, man, once you in a hole, you in a hole. That's just how we're built. Once you're in a hole, you have to throw yourself out of. You have to aggressively throw yourself out of. And it's the Dak trap. It's the same Dak trap that happens every single time. And that's where most of Dak's picks come from. Like in second halves of these games where we down by 30 and we're forcing the throws. And that's when we get whooped even worse.
I don't think that's the case this year. Like, even though he did have one against the Saints, I think it's happening earlier. I think he's pressing earlier, and it feels like that's just, I don't want to say the game plan to press, but that's the pressure to, hey, we gotta get going. We gotta get it now. Because if we don't get it now, we're never gonna get it, right? There just doesn't seem to be this rhyme or reason. But here's what I find interesting: a couple weeks ago, the media, fans been pressing this dude and the team about like motion. The media now presses him. They go up to him, and he gets a little attitude about it. That's how he does. Gives this long-winded answer. He says that, Mr. Parks, the analytical guy, brings him the numbers. And Voch, what happens the first couple possessions in Pittsburgh? Oh, we was dizzy, right? We was dizzy with all types of cool motions and push this and jet that and ghost this. We was doing all type of cool things in that Steelers game.
Rub routes, yeah.
What happened to that game plan at the crib? What happened to the here we go at the crib? They just completely abandoned that whole thing. I felt like it was one of those situations where it was like a little kid come up to you and say, "Can I have some?" And you say no. And then they come up to you again, "Can I please have some?" "Here, man." And you give them like 2 pieces of chips.
But it works when we go here, man.
Mike, can we get some motion? Here. And then what happened to that type of offense the following week, Voch? Where'd that go?
I have and there's people in the chat asking if this is live. This is definitely live and not pre-recorded. But Scott, I would love to ask Mike McCarthy. And look, Mike may get an attitude and be like, "Hey man, you quit asking me this. I'm gonna find somebody else to ask you these questions. Find somebody else to ask me this. If you better stop. Find somebody else. I ain't playing with you neither.
You being dramatic, Voch.
I ain't playing. But I would love to ask Mike. I say, Mike, man, you will call a hell of a game one week. Like Pittsburgh was a hell of a game for Mike, but just turnovers didn't make it look as good. But we did so much better offensive play calling wise than we've done in the previous weeks.
Easily. That was easily the best called game and game plan of the season, even though he only scored 20 points.
I would just love to ask Mike, man, what makes you stop that? What makes you stop that? Or we have a really good half getting Lamb involved, but the second half, Lamb just kind of disappeared. Like what's on your play sheet? What determines getting Lamb involved? What determines the amount of motion you use? What determines how you use the run game and your creativity and all this kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like what determines screens and who you throw screens to? I would love an answer, but politics, whatever. But Mike is the weirdest example of I'm good one week, but we throwing hitches the very next game. He's a weird example of that.
Yeah, don't get it twisted about how. So the Cowboys got into the red zone twice in that game. It wasn't because you was just dialing stuff up. that wasn't the case. Now, when you get down there, you can't turn it over, Dak. Right? Like you got to stop pressing in that manner, and that's what I mean by it feels like we're just pressing off the bat in most of these games. Now we had this conversation on your show with me, you, and Brian about red zone or run game. I lean towards the run game needing to get itself together because then that helps you in the red zone, right? Like the Cowboys can't run the ball in the red zone, so now you're throwing the ball in the red zone, and that can lead to more potential for sack, fumble, or interceptions. And what happened? You're pressing, you don't make a strong enough hold on Branch. Branch makes a great play, pick, right? So we gotta cut down on the turnovers, obviously down there, but we also have to figure out who we are down there. Run the ball, to me, would be the best way to get going and then you can build off of that. And we're going to talk about building off that in a second. But before we get to the last mic, shouts out to Professor O for sending me this. Did y'all see what Troy Aikman had to say about this Cowboys, like the receivers and the routes or whatever? So there's this stat that's out every week. I don't normally post it. I get it though, about separation, right? Cowboys and separation has not been great. The reason why I'm like up and down on it, some metrics, it only give you the separation numbers on target. Some metrics give you the separation numbers just in general. You don't even need numbers to see that the Cowboys wide receivers are not route running type of separators, right? And we're not just, there's not guys just running wide open. You go watch the Lions game. Again, I said this on Twitter. My takeaway from watching the defensive film against the Lions, give me Ben Johnson. Sure. It had nothing to do, forget the Cowboys defense. Give me Ben, because he finds ways to get guys a ton of space, even if the ball's not delivered. There was passes that were incomplete. There were passes that Jared Goff didn't even go to a guy. I mean, I'm talking wide the hell open, right? And he was just kind of like, I'll make it harder on myself here. You don't necessarily see that here. If somebody's open, it's a stop route, right? Sure. It's a dump off. You know, other than that, the Steeler game was the only game really where you saw guys just 5-10 yards of nobody in front of them or behind them or around them. And you didn't see that consistently, but you saw that more often than any other game. But this is what Troy said on a ticket. It's really long, and I don't know if I read it all, but just listen. He says, quote, on the Cowboys wide receivers, I think the routes are terrible. I think they run terrible routes, and I've thought that beyond this year. I think CD has got to improve in his route running. As a quarterback, if you're not certain where guys are going to be consistently, it's hard to play the position. That's what I see. I see guys lazy coming off the line of scrimmage. Sometimes they run. Usually, if they do, it's because they're anticipating they're going to get the football on that play. But if they're not, they don't. And it all ties together. I'm not impressed with that part of it. I just finished watching Baltimore Ravens because I have them this week. You put on film of theirs and watch their receivers run routes, and they come off the ball. So does San Fran's. So does Green Bay's and others. But it's hard to play the QB position if you're not certain how guys are going to run their routes or where they're going to be. And I'm not speaking for Dak. Dak may say, hey, I think their routes are amazing. But as a former quarterback watching it, it's got to get a lot better, end quote. He's not lying.
Nope.
When you watch it, and I said this about the second pick, and again, that was more of being greedy. Tolbert, I was like, it felt like he just was like, I'm not getting this rock, and kind of was just, and realized, oh, snap, the ball's coming my way. Let me try to. The purpose in these routes, and Shadi talked about this, Voch. He said you have to run the routes like you're getting the ball. These guys aren't, and the concepts aren't that great. So just everything just seems to be like pulling teeth in this offense, and I don't think it's sustainable. I don't think Dak can carry this offense as is every single week. I don't think CD and Dak themselves, teams have adapted. I don't think they can do it every single week. I think it's going to look, discombobulated for the rest of the year unless they figure something out in this bye week.
And also too, when I hear Troy talk about the route running, look, man, the route running is cool, but I think some players are who they are or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like CeeDee Lamb is not like some Amari Cooper type route runner. I think it starts with the routes and what's asked from these wide receivers and the routes that they running. Like Scott, like how many ways can you run down the field and turn around?
I love you when you say that.
Because Scott, because sometimes it's a curl, but sometimes it's a comeback.
Sometimes it's a hook.
Sometimes it's a hook, sometimes it's a hitch, sometimes it's a spot. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you run around the field, you just turn around. Like I think it's a lot more to that. And I think I've been saying this on my show, Scott, is I think we have regressed into like a one read offense, like a 1-2 type read offense. I think Dak is smart enough and good enough to progress through multiple receivers. But what happens is if we're only looking at this, let's just say Ferguson Tolbert concept. Yeah, CeeDee Lamb and Turpin are going to jog on the other side of the field because Dak ain't even looking over there. Dak ain't looking over there. And I'm just like, man, if you get all these guys involved especially CD, to where whenever he does anything, 3 people on the other side looking at him, at least what it could do is open it up for somebody else. But hey, you're going to run this very simple stick concept, that this simple hitching flats. Cool. If the defense knows exactly what you're doing when they're doing it, route running's not going to save that. You know what I mean? There's only so much routing up you can do when you're running down the field and just turning around. So I think it starts with your play caller, offensive coordinator. You said this a little bit ago. When somebody's wide open in our scheme, I think it's because of Dak. Okay, I got to get the ball out to you before you even break and turn around. You know what I'm saying? Because you just ain't going to be wide ass open. Man, Scott, I was watching Jameson Williams just run past people, just run away from people. Like, his wide open is different than our idea of wide ass open. Yeah. So yeah, you can criticize route running when we actually have guys that, like, when we actually have easy buttons to get guys wide the hell open. But if we just running down the field and turn around, I don't think that's the route. That's the route running in particular. I think it starts with the routes. And once we open up the routes that we run, then we can talk about route running.
That's a good point. And you know, I feel like Mike is going to run his offense, right? Meaning this is a prehistoric West Coast type of style of offense.
Right now. I'm sorry for cutting you off. If that's what it is, and he looked Jerry Jones' face, say, look, I'm just gonna run my 90s West Coast prehistoric Flintstone that. Fire him. That's it.
Yeah. And when you look at the West Coast, it doesn't incorporate all this new motion, all this bunch, all this condensed. They if you look at a Cowboys running and how it's in general, it's spread it out. You know, it's slant flats, it's these hooks, it's progression read. I'm going here, and there's something to it, right? Progressive reads, but I say this all the time on my show. I'm not a fan of it all the time, because what it makes you do is you come off certain reads, or you don't go to the line of scrimmage and say, oh, I actually like this, the way this looks, so screw this, I'm going to go here, right? And if you look at Ben Johnson, they definitely don't run a progressive read type of system. It's, we're going to put you in a blender.
Yep.
And I got a guy or two I'm reading over here, and I know Jameson Williams one-on-one on this corner route is wide open if you don't put the safety over there, right? If you do, I bet. I got Amon-Ra St. Brown on this crosser that I can hit here. I mean, there was times in that game there's multiple people just open. It's just Jared Goff, pick your poison here. Or not Jared Goff, but Cowboys, pick your poison how you want it to be done. Now, with that said, I say this all the time, Voch, you got to be better within this system. Right, it's not changing unless they go into the offseason and they add the tweaks that they did last year. These guys got to be better in it. Schoolmaker, you can't. There's no way you can tell me that was the route, that was the correct route progression or the route concept when Brooks broke open and he throws it to Brooks and Schoolmaker just runs his guy right into Brooks. There's no way that was designed to chip the defensive end and then you run straight up the field and probably turn around. Right in front of Brooks. No, He probably was supposed to be a low read on a low end crosser. And if he does that, Brooks has nothing but green grass to catch that rock and get upfield. So we got to get better with just doing our jobs in that sense. Spacing is terrible. I cannot stand the spacing. I ain't going to talk about it a whole lot because there's no excuse for the interception in the red zone. But Voch, tell me why there are 3 wide receivers within 7 yards of each other on the left side of the field in the end zone.
Sure.
That's stupid to me. I don't understand why you're doing that. But we got to get better within the limited, in my opinion, scheme that we have. That's the only way that it is going to work.
And I'm seeing some people in the chat bringing this point up, and I see this all the time. But Reggie, Carol, and Louise in there, they saying, "Well, but you got to have time to run these routes." Here's my problem, right? This is how offensive line inherently works. I can think Tyler Guyton is terrible, but Tyler Guyton doesn't get beat immediately. You know what I'm saying? Tyler Guyton gets beat quicker than Tyron Smith would get beat, but he doesn't get beat immediately. Right. So you just can't look at offensive line like, oh, well, we either win or we lose. I like to look at it as the amount of time you have to call these plays. As bad as your offensive line may be playing for you right now, they're not so bad that you can't call different routes than stop routes down the field. Because I'll give you an example. Jared Goff got pressured and sacked last week. He got pressured and sacked last week. But on plays where he didn't get pressured and sacked, he was tearing your ass up, right? So on plays where Dak Prescott is not getting pressured and sacked, it's not going to be every single play we're getting pressured and sacked. That's not how offensive line works. You just have less time. So in my mind, what I'm just talking to the people that say that, well, if your offensive line block better, in my mind, you either give them help for longer routes down the field or give them a quick route that's not running down the field and turning around. There's many quick routes, sir. If I'm a play caller, and I know this because I played center and I've called plays before. There's a whole set of plays that we call catch and throw, and there's a whole set of plays that we call dropping back. You can run bubbles, screens, turning arounds, hitches, slants, outs, goes. You can run a ton of plays that happen quickly. Why are we only running hitches or 50% of the time running hitches? That's a real analytic stat. 50% of the time you're running hitches. There are more plays than hitches is what I'm saying to you. And that's just not indicative of offensive line time pressure or whatever. I'm sorry, Scott, go ahead.
No, to that thought process, right? You went up against TJ Watt and Nick Herbig before Nick Herbig got hurt, right?
Sure.
Sometime in the third quarter. But even before the third quarter, when he got hurt, you hit a couple big plays. You hit a couple guys wide open with that same offensive line. And some people believe it was a worse offensive line, but you got a chance to see TJ Bass for a full game. And hopefully you guys see that TJ Bass is what he is. But that's a different discussion we'll get to in a second. So if you go look at the Steelers game, same offensive line, same problematic rusher in regards to TJ Watt, but you still were able to hit wide open Brevin Spann-Ford. You were still able to hit Turpin down the seam. You were still able to hit Tolbert down the sidelines because you were more creative in how you did things, right? You had some bunch formations. You had motion, right? You motion Turpin in the slot, boom. You hit motion, exit motion out. Brevin Spann-Ford confused the defense. We went into this game, we as in the Bomb Squad on my channel, when we studied the Lions defense, the one thing I kept hammering home, they can get got. You can dial it up on them. Mike just has to pick up the phone and call creative. We showed a ton of plays. I went and watched all these teams. Granted, these are teams that are a little bit more creative than the Cowboys. And I'm like, look at this. Pre-snap motion, wide open. Look at this. Pre-snap motion, post-snap action, play action, wide open. It's an aggressive defense. So you got to use that aggressiveness against them. And it doesn't always have to be in the play action department because some people will say, well, Sky, you can't run, so play action not going to work. I don't agree with that, but cool, I'll give you that excuse. But what about just motion in general? If they would have used more purposeful motion, meaningful motion at snap and post-snap action, you could have chewed this defense up, in my opinion, and maybe kept up with them. But that never was the case. And here we are. We got a blowout there.
And in real life, Scott, the Lions really don't throw the ball down the field a whole bunch neither. You know what I'm saying? They just hit you where it's wide open. And look, they do have their shots, and they normally throw it to Jameson Williams if it is like
That's
deeper
the guy
shot.
They go deep, yeah.
But besides that, man, they hitting you short to intermediate. You know what I'm saying? And they just getting yak off the back end. Yep. So I mean, it ain't about O-line all the time, and they got an incredible O-line, but they don't block all day like that. Incredible O-line.
Man, listen, sometimes when you go back and watch film from a game like this, it makes you want to drink, Voch. And if it makes you want to drink, you guys can head on down to Specs. Specs has all the fine wine, beer, liquor, and finer foods. Whether you're planning a party or you're just looking for that perfect bottle, Specs has you covered. Great prices, great advice, and the best brands. You can find it all at Specs. And if you can't get down there, maybe your car, maybe the Mike McCarthy, Honda Civic that he tried to take into Daytona 500, it ain't sprinting fast enough. Cool, no problem. Download the app. They have delivery, same day delivery to your crib. If you want to take your Honda Civic down there, you can. They got curbside pickup. So shop online through the Specs app. Easily place an order at your local Specs all across Texas. Cheers to you. Cheers to saving. Shouts out to Specs, man. We got to make sure we shout out our sponsors, brother.
Everybody in that B-roll got a problem with addiction, boy. They are smiling at that liquor, boy. Scott, I'm just looking over at the screen and that motherfucker walking out.
The first dude, like,
He happy as hell. He got that little lick over there. That boy got addiction. Somebody need to pray for him. I'm sorry.
With my man Peter Green, they talking about putting some liquor in this water. Man, don't put that liquor in this goddamn water, man.
All his gadgets.
All this
gadgets in the water, man. Yeah.
But them down south people say put some salt. Y'all put a heap of salt on there. I can just put
A twang.
a twang,
Twang.
a little twang on it. He said, he said, what? I said, yeah, just twang it.
Accent. Scott, that motherfucker was excited to walk that beer to the counter, boy. That boy got a problem.
Oh man, I need to have a Petey Green segment. I'm gonna figure something out.
We're gonna watch Peter Green.
If Mike McCarthy rolls out the watermelon thing again, that's what he need to do the watermelon. I don't know if you remember last year or 4 years ago, there was a watermelon game. You know, against the Atlanta Falcons. Pull that watermelon game back out. I mean, me and Petey Green might have a segment going on, man. Rest in peace, Petey Green.
There you go.
All right, let's listen to our last Mike.
We're not gonna make it to this film, Scott.
Oh, we about to do it right now.
Okay,
Mike's audio is gonna lead us into the film. Okay. So we haven't really talked about run game. You did a video on like the first possession or two about the run game, and I wanted to take a look at some of the run game too. Now here's a problem in the Lions game. Okay, there's only like 5 runs that make sense because they only ran the ball 8 times in the first half. After the first half, it does not matter. So I want to take a look at some of the runs in that first half, and then I want to take a look at how the Lions did some things. But this is Mike Solari saying, they asked him, "Hey, Mike, what are some of your bread and butter plays?" Mind y'all, Cowboys Nation, Dallas is the worst running team in the league. They ain't got a bread and butter play, okay? But this is what Mike Solari had to say.
Do you know what your bread and butter runs are yet?
Yeah, the bread and butter runs are a variation of our inside zone and getting the ball in the perimeter. We want to get the ball in space in our toss schemes. But, we're building on that. But yes, it would be the inside zone and in the wide zone and getting the ball in the perimeter.
First of all, he lies.
No way. Not this time. We created it.
This motherfucker. You lie to me.
First of all, you're lying, sir.
Lie to me.
You don't got to lie to us. They realize we can see this. We see you. What Cat Williams say?
I see. Don't you know I can see you?
We see you. Where are these tosses at?
I tell you what though, Scott. Scott, I've been saying Jerry Jones could look at us like we not experts and say we don't know ball. Our eyes work. We ain't got to be experts, but my eyes work.
You see him try to throw that in there at the end? Wide zone and toss and space. Oh, coach, you was cool when you said inside zone, and y'all love to run an inside zone.
Sure.
But you can't be an inside zone team if you don't run wide zone at a high rate. Inside zone, in my opinion, should be a passenger to wide zone, okay? But if you're going to run inside zone, I'm a zone fan. I love running zone, but wide zone is really where it's at. But we'll get to that here in a second.
Sure.
But you ain't got to lie to us, man. We don't do those things you said. I would like for us to do more of it. But he said those are the bread and butters. So I said, okay, let me go look at some of these plays. And I know this is the worst game to take a look at, but I just wanted to, and I wanted to bring my offensive line kind of sore on here, Voch. So let me set this up real quick if I can and make sure. Boom, we got the film up. So we're going to give y'all a little bit of, somebody said toss to Zeke. They do be running toss to Zeke. What are y'all thinking? We're going to get a little film going with Voch and just take a look at some of these plays, break down the O-line, break down the concepts, the whys, the hows, if it makes sense. If it doesn't, then I want to take a look at how the Lions do some things. So this play, Voch, you had broke down on your channel. This was the very first run of the game, and I love how you broke it down. Everybody kind of just got whooped and didn't do nothing right on it. So I'll let it play real quick with running back and kind of just get your thoughts on this whole situation. But this was the first play of the game for, 1 yard?
Yep.
First of all, my fault. First of all, I don't get the motioning in Tolbert here for Tolbert to do absolutely nothing. Number one. So there's that. But go ahead, Voch. Kind of break this down if you can.
I think, Scott, to your point, I do think we waste blockers on people that they shouldn't be blocking. And I hate how much that they're putting on the tight ends play, right? Like the tight end is sometimes blocking people they have no business blocking. Now, not in this situation, right?
This situation, this is what you want. You want Ferg out here on a linebacker. That he can do that. That's not a problem.
Big picture wise, right? We block defensive ends too much. But if you come back here, everybody just kind of take turns not being dominant enough or not, controlling blocks or whatever. Terrence Steele is on the outside there. He's gonna try to lead off on Hutchinson there, but Hutchinson too powerful on the inside, get control, and he's gonna cut that edge off, and that's gonna make Rico bounce back inside. Now that's cool because this thing is built to bounce back inside sometimes. But if everybody on the inside don't have control neither, it is kind of bad. Zach is getting control. TJ Bass kind of going for a ride there. Our guy BB's not doing very well with his climbing leverage right now. So the inside is turbulent. The inside is not safe. So the biggest block here, and mind you, Ferguson, fantastic block from him on the outside. We ain't talking about him.
Yeah.
But this Terrence Steele block, right, which ain't terrible, but it starts off with him. And once everything gets cut back inside, then Zach becomes the most important block. Because that's how zone works. You just kind of go down the line there. Then Zach becomes the most important block. He got whooped. All right, let me work around Zach. Oh, BB didn't block? Okay, cool. Let me go the other way. Oh, Bass going for a ride? All right, cool, bet. And nothing gets accomplished here.
Yeah, this has been my gripe with how we run things and Cooper BB. Cooper Beebe's playing a new position, so he gets a lot of rope and leeway to develop. But my issue with how we run these kind of combo concepts, these get to the second level concept, when BB has to deal with the guy right over in front of him and then get to the second level, he's been poor. I hate to say it, but it has not been good. And this happens right here, right? All right, we're comboing down. It's not a bad combo block, but like you said in your video, you can't let this gentleman just go free. Somebody has to stay on this dude. And then so when BB tries to get to the second level, he can't. And that just adds and compounds to the situation that's happened already play side. Because in zone, like you said, we're reading, and if we got running backs in here, you guys know this, we're reading, all right, we can go C, B, or we're going to come back A. And if it's a wide zone, you can even come backside B, right? And I bet we don't have this out here because he gets turned. And we can't run right in front of him because Zach Martin gets pushed. So now I'm looking backside. Well, backside, there's nothing there either. So he's just trying to get what he can get green grass, and he only gets 1 yard.
But Scott, run this back, though. I just want us to just kind of play a little game passively. I want you to count how many guys that we have to block and count how many blocks we have to block them.
Got you. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to 5.
5 and 6. So that's
6. I'm sorry, 6 because of Ferguson.
And then if you add Tolbert, you know what I'm saying? So now there's like 7 verse 8. I mean, 7 verse 8.
Yeah, that's why I don't like bringing Tolbert in here because if he's doing nothing. If you're going to bring Tolbert in, Tolbert has to haul ass, in my opinion. He has to haul ass and take this dude the hell out, or take him out if he can. But he can't just get here and go, what do I do? What do I do? I don't know what's going on here. So, this just makes no sense here. What you want Tolbert to do is get up here on top of Jack Campbell, which that's a dumb situation anyway. Tolbert on Jack Campbell ain't happening, sir. But just a mess. And that's the problem for me with this line all year. It's been a mess in what they're asking them to do from like a duo approach, a combo block approach. They have not been good at it, Voch.
Doomed from the start, sir.
Yeah. This next one, and this pisses me off, number one. Shotgun runs with Ezekiel Elliott, just, you just got to stop it. Just stop this madness, this nonsense, and this shotgun stuff. Now, the reason why I want to pull this play up, first of all, zone read option with Dak Prescott and Zeke is hilarious. Okay. Yep. For two different reasons. Dak ain't running.
Yep.
Dak ain't running. Even though Hutchinson is playing it, it's not happening. But my question to you, Voch, is this here. Look at what he does here. He's kind of reaching play side, which that seems weird to me because now you're inviting this guy to come inside and destroy that play. So is this part of the scheme, you think, or is this just kind of a communication, misunderstanding from Cooper Beebe? Because I don't get why you would try to reach here and invite this lineman play
Beebe,
side. That's weird to me.
Beebe should probably be a little more even even with him or whatever, but he's attacking that front side shoulder as if he thinks that Zach's going to be behind him. And look, Scott, this is another issue that we had on another play that we was talking about, right? Do some of y'all think we run an inside zone and the rest of y'all think we running wide?
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, is everybody on the same page here? BB's blocking this this one tech like he's expecting help to come.
Facts. I need him to be here, right, on the inside shoulder, and then if he wants to help here and get up, climb up TJ Bass, that's fine, because now I get Zach Martin to take this. He's sealed, and I have an alley, or I have the cutback if I'm Zeke, right? So I got the cutback here, which he's going to try to do, or I have this alley, but he has neither, and he tries to make the cutback, but Hutchinson's not having it here, and then BB doesn't help. His guy helps slow it down. So, just again, there's nothing creative here. There's no motion to it to hold a backer. There's nothing. It's just stagnant zone read with Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott, and then piss poor blocking up front. How is this helping your offense?
And if Dak's not gonna run, then you got five guys trying to block 6.
Yeah,
and Dak never runs, so I'm assuming
Dak never runs. No,
that's 5. That's 5 guys trying to block 6.
All right, let's see how this one goes here. I kind of forget where this goes. I think this is. Oh, okay. This is where it actually could have worked, but we were looking at this backstage. So this is what looks like initially. We were talking about this. It looks like initially zone. It is zone, but wide zone based off of these guys here. But then I look at Terrence and his step. I don't necessarily see that, because if it was wide zone for me, in my opinion, with Terrence, I think Terrence is stepping out a little bit wider. So maybe they're still running an inside zone type concept. So I need you to explain to me, Voch, this block right here is what bugs me the most. We talked about it. Take a look at this. I see this a whole lot with the Cowboys. A whole lot. Why are TJ Bass and Tyler Smith stacked on each other right here? Number one, right? Then number two, why on God's green earth is Luke Schoonmaker one-on-one with Hayden Hutchinson?
Never a good idea. Never a good idea.
Just kind of break this one down. Explain it to me, Voch, what you're seeing here.
So if you just look at the combos here, right? If you just look
combos,
at
here we go.
So let's look at Zach and BB right now. Zach is leaving BB alone to deal with this one tech backside. So in my mind, this looks like what a wide zone would be, right? Because he's not looking backwards. He's just only moving forward. He's moving wide. I'm like, all right, cool. And the only reason Zach would have a down guy is if that end crosses Terrence's face and he kind of doesn't or whatever. So Zach is going to peak and then Zach is going to climb. So I'm like, all right, cool. It's wide. But if you look at what Bass is doing, if it's wide, Bass shouldn't get caught on this block.
Right.
Bass is kind of lingering here. He's kind of stuck here. If you watch the Lions long enough, they'll actually shove people into the other block and just leave.
Yeah.
Like they'll be like, hey, I'm not going to get stuck on this block. I'm not going to hang around. I'm just going to shove them into you and then just go. Bass should not be lingering on this block too long. I feel this way because Tyler Smith is blocking like he's trying to overtake the block. Like he takes a wider step to reach and try to overtake the block. So if I'm Bass, and in real life, this could be a pre-snap thing. Like, man, Tyler is such an athlete. Man, go ahead and get this dude and just let me climb or whatever. That's something that offensive linemen can talk about pre-snap. But Bass is just latched on and he's hanging on, and that's not a good way to get to the linebackers there. And if your linebackers are skating free, then your run play doesn't stand a chance. So if half of y'all wide blocking, half of y'all duo blocking, inside zone blocking or whatever, then it's not going to harmonize perfectly and your linebackers get to run free.
And that could be not having the continuity, but I'm with you. I feel like in this specific play, and actually Bass has an advantage. He has a leverage advantage. He has
the perfect leverage in this offense where they never give the offensive line the perfect leverage.
There's no way he should be head up here. He should be stepping this way deep. Maybe you help a little bit with the hand, right? Reach out with the hand and allow Tyler Smith to get here so that if you're stepping here, now I can get up this way. And if he gets up here, and now low key, Zeke might have a chance to go ahead and hit this alley, because when you're doing a zone read like this, not a zone read, but the read for the running back in this type of zone, you're looking at the linebacker, right? You're reading, and usually in the wide zone, you're reading the backers. This is kind of quasi-Y, quasi-duo, whatever. But if he actually gets up here, he has a lane to just cut this way. But there's nothing there because it gets mashed, right? So now we're cutting back. And Zeke does the right thing. He cuts back. Oh, one-on-one with Schoonmaker. That's never a good thing. And we only get a couple yards. So, again, just sloppy, just weird play up front. And inserting a backup guard, to me, is not the fix.
No.
Now, is this which one is this? Okay, another kind of zone read, even though I hate to calling it because these dudes don't do it. This is actually more of a duo. And this is likely duo, correct, Voch? Where you got, okay, we're going to double here. I'm going to get up. We're going to double here. And I'm going to get up, right? And now it's up to the running back. We're reading play side, defensive tackle. All right, bet. Where's that? Now he's taking care of where this linebacker going to go. So the linebacker plays the outside, but here's the green. In my opinion, I'm not trying to be nitpicky here. Come at Zeke for those that, oh, you guys are crushing Zeke. Just plant your foot and go. Just go. Especially when you're not going to see too much of that, right? Just plant your foot and go. And I'm guarantee you he gets more than 3 yards. Instead, Zeke plants his foot and cuts it inside where there's trash, sticks his head down, and I think we get about 3 yards here. Where honestly, if he just keeps his trajectory this way out here, I'm pretty sure he gets it. Now, on the backside situation where this kind of combination block here, Voch, we were talking about this. Terrence hooks, right?
Sure.
Like you want, but he gets pushed too far into Zeke.
Yeah.
Am I wrong in thinking that if Terrence kind of held ground, say like right here, there would be that where Zeke can kind of cut it up? Am I wrong there? Or is just Terrence got the hook and he did correct? To me, it seemed like he got pushed a little bit further inside.
Yeah, you never want to get pushed to where the lanes close and condensed and all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and honestly, Zeke should just find 73 and go. In real life, that's a great turn there by your boy. He kind of hooks him here. Find 73. And honestly, the pressure that Terrence gives up kind of makes you go that way. You know what I'm saying? Like that I won't say loss from Terrence, but that loss from Terrence kind of forces you to go front side. So I don't know what Zeke is thinking about here, but we finally got the numbers to block it. We finally got the bodies out there to deal with it. And I think we actually blocked this up pretty decent relative to what we normally do. 15 just got to get there.
Yeah, I think, again, when you're doing these duo type situations, it usually gives you a couple way goes, right? And I think the two-way go is right off of the hip of Tyler or right down the A gap, right? And instead he kind of takes the B, and there's just trash there. It's just trash there. So
why would he go there, man? What are you doing? What's wrong with this guy?
It's actually a good run play. Granted, you only get like 5 yards, but we'll take it. I see them do this often, where it's just everybody's just going to mash the middle of this. They're just all just going to mash down in the middle of this. I don't even know what the hell you call this. Maybe you can help me here, but look at it.
We used to call this we used to call this wedge blocking. This was it's kind of like tush push blocking. We just block the most inside gap and just go. But I don't know why the hell they're doing it right here.
Well, and then he gets up. I believe he gets up here, Tyler. Yep, he does. So it's actually blocked up really well. And, one of the things that they tell you as a running back is, slow to go, fast through it.
Yeah.
Slow to the hole, fast through it. And this is a good job by Rico doing that. I mean, I think Zeke does that in general, trying to, slow to the hole, try to get fast through it. He just ain't as fast as he used to be. So slow to the hole, right? Let it set up, makes a nice jump cut. Gets downhill, gets some green, and we get 5. So this actually was a really good play here. But as you can see with the Lions, they're aggressive, right? So if you show them this type of action, look at these linebackers. They're squeezing because you're squeezing. So they're reading the keys of the linemen. So if they're going to squeeze, the linebackers squeeze. This is why I think you could have set them up in this game, and we're going to show you when we take a look at the Lions how you can. So this is actually a good run here. Not saying I would do this type of situation all the time, but neither here nor there. And then this final run, just again, for the life of me, I can't understand why you run
5 or 6
zone read. Yeah, and there's that again too, right? You run a zone read with Dak and Ezekiel Elliott. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Against 5. And let's be real. You're not playing 11-on-11 ball with Dak. Right? If this is what's his name? Lamar Jackson? You're playing 11, you're playing 11-on-11 ball. But watch how they play it. They play like the Cowboys played Lamar Jackson and they were supposed to. And it's the scrape exchange technique, which means he's crashing regardless. He does not care about the running back or about the quarterback. I'm playing the running back, and he's going to fill and exchange in his gap and play just in case Dak happens to take off. So here we go. Here he is crashing. He does not care if Dak pulls that ball. And watch, is this Jack Campbell?
Yep.
Scrapes over top. If Dak keeps it, the play's over. It's dead, right?
Yep.
And of course, there's nothing Zeke can do about that. So this is, you can't really come at Zeke for this play. But for the life of me, this is a wasted play. Dak Prescott is not going to run the ball out of this play, and teams are not scared of Ezekiel Elliott. They'll let you, all right, Zeke, you grab the ball and get what, 2 yards? You got no yards. So just don't like to see it right there, Voch. And if you want to talk about the blocking here, you can. I don't know. The blocking wasn't the issue for me. It was just the play call in general.
And in real life, if that's how they want to play it or whatever, you then have to make the adjustment, and we'll call it base blocking or whatever. So we'll add a tight end next to like Terrence or something. I don't know. And then it'll be like Tyler versus that end. Bass will get that 3, BB will climb to that linebacker, Zach will get that 3, and then Terrence will climb to that linebacker. So we'll basically turn this into, okay, well, if that's how y'all gonna play our quote unquote read option look, then we're just gonna go 6 for 6 and just base block y'all. That's what we should do. But Cowboys ain't tough, man. Cowboys
and if you add a little creativity to it, hey, maybe if we get a jet sweep right here, this will hold this defensive end, right? This will hold this linebacker, right? And now Zeke has a lane up front. But no, we're stagnant, ladies and gentlemen. If you get the jet sweep, right, at the snap, a jet sweep, I guarantee you he's on hold. He's on hold. And now Zeke has nothing but green grass here. But we don't do that. We get stagnant. Now,
also, Scott, what happens if you run counter to the left at this end and this linebacker while they doing that? We get a wide open look. If that's what you're gonna be doing, like if I see you on film doing this, I'm running counter at that defensive end. I'll even line up with Zeke on that side and just be like, hey, just take counter from this side, and I'm gonna run Zach into that end, and we then take Terrence to pull and block this linebacker over here to the left. If he's gonna get out the way like that, we just gonna run where you just came from.
Yeah.
But, Cowboys don't want to adjust and do nothing smart.
So I wanted to take a look a little bit, and we'll kind of get through this a little quicker.
I don't know nothing.
Little time frame here. Look at some of the Lions. Now, this is why I emphasize Y zone. That's why you see the most successful, in my opinion, offenses emphasize it. San Fran, Detroit, Green Bay, Minnesota. Y zone is their base, and then they're able to build off of that within run game schemes and the pass game scheme. But I thought this one was really cool. And it was basically, it's a wide zone play. Everybody's going to step out. This is 6 offensive linemen on this side, by the way. Everybody's stepping out, but he's going to hook this guy, and Laporta's actually going to fill backside B gap and take care of, I believe that's Damone Clark. And look at the Grand Canyon size lane. Okay. Y zone. So what happens in Y zone, and teams running a whole lot, your linebackers have to be aggressive in their flow. They have to be. So they're aggressive in their flow. Here comes Laporta, backside B. Look at that damn lane, brother.
It's so smart. Scott, I've never seen this done like that before, but it makes sense.
So creative, man.
Makes sense.
That's so creative. And as we get going here, and I'll go back and I'll show you, another thing you'll notice about the Lions and what they do, the Cowboys traditionally line their running backs under center about 7 yards. It's 7 yards in the backfield. The Lions are 8. Why is that important, Sky? Well, number one, it gives your offensive line more time to set up the blocks before the ball's even put in the belly. Bow. The ball's put in the belly. Look where the line's at. The line is already, the block's already setting up, and you still got time. You still got more. You have more added time for the running back to find green grass. And you'll notice that a lot here. Those guys are set up 8 yards deep. The Cowboys are set up under center 7, and when they're not under center, it's like 5 yards because it's shotgun.
And then something else too, Scott. What I love about that is that your tight end doesn't have to block edge dudes, because how many times have we seen
Right.
Your tight end have to block some edge and they just get whooped by the edge and it just blows up the whole play. Now put the tight end where they should be blocking people and just break the rule for this one tackle. Don't put him on the same track as everybody else and just let him block that edge guy. I love it.
Here we go. More type of zone, wide zone type looks. Again, what does wide zone do when that's your base? You got these linebackers having to flow immediately. That's the whole point of this thing. You want these guys flowing. You want this defense, everybody flowing one way so that we can have this backside Grand Canyon size lane for your running backs. And when your running backs are 8 yards deep in the backfield, you have time for it to set up. You go look at when the Cowboys are getting the ball handed off the line and getting no type movement because they're not running a specific style and they're not getting any push in general. And then obviously we don't get no tackling. So it's a touchdown, right?
Terrible.
So now we done set you up, right? We done ran a whole bunch of wide zone stuff. Well, guess what's coming up next again, right? Wide zone, right? Oh, yeah. Everybody's going to run this zone, right? Nope. I absolutely love this because it looks, we're reading our keys. Voch, look how in sync these motherfuckers. Look at this offensive line.
Yep.
Everybody's in sync.
Board drill.
It looks once again like we're running wide zone. And what happens when it looks like that? Everybody starts flowing that way. Backside. Now you just created 2 lead blockers. But the key here is look how Jared Goff sells the play action. Look at the counter right here. This is actually not wide zone. It's going to be a counter. And look at all this space and opportunity. First of all, he's not touching this guy, so you just keep running outside, and I got blockers.
And his dudes over there. His dudes over there to help.
I got numbers. Now I'm getting a big play. So, like, the Lions show you really how this thing could be done. And if you think I'm lying, if you go back and look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 yards deep, right? They're 8 yards set up here. Same thing. 8 yards set up in the backfield. 8 yards. Same thing. 8 yards. When you go look at the Cowboys, this is a run play.
Zeke like he blocking.
This is a run play. Now he's 7 yards. That's normal. That's standard. But this is a run play.
We need Linehan. We need Scott Linehan.
Now remember how I showed you where the line was before the ball got put in the hands of the running back?
Sure.
Look what the ball's handed off to Rico Dowdle. Your line hasn't even moved a yard from where they're supposed to be.
They're moving backwards. They're moving backwards. Scott, man, it's depressing, dog. This made me sad, man.
But sometimes you gotta give the people a dose of reality, right? And again, this may be me just fanning over Ben Johnson and the offensive line coach Hank Fraley over there in Detroit, but give me that over what we do here in the ground. So, hey, Cowboys Nation, hopefully y'all enjoyed a little film. I know it wasn't a great film, but anytime I can do some film live with Voch, man, hell yeah, I'm doing it.
Scott, what if Jerry Jones really a genius and he gave Mike McCarthy his job again this year because Ben Johnson went back to Detroit? What if that was on purpose and he knew that Mike was getting fired this year just to get Ben Johnson like next year?
I won't say nothing bad about
I'll apologize.
about Jerry Jones for at least a year.
Yeah.
For at least a year, I ain't saying nothing. If they bring me Ben Johnson up in here and Robert Saleh, like you said, so Robert, at
Robert.
defensive coordinator, I ain't got nothing to say, bro. As long as he let them do them.
Let them do them.
You know what I mean?
I'll apologize publicly.
Somebody said still all that shit. Facts.
Yeah. Look, Ben Johnson has admitted to just still in play. And look, you can see some run on Monday Night Football. The Lions will do it the very next week.
Brother.
We went there.
Shanahan did that. So the Lions ran that trick play you saw who was it? Laporta,
yeah.
They ran out against the Packers at 1 o'clock game. The Cowboys played the Niners. That wasn't a Sunday night game. That was like a 3 o'clock game.
Sure.
Shanahan, it was Kittle went to Shanahan and said, "Yo, you see this play? This play is cool." Shanahan said, "Bet, put it in the pregame," and ran that shit on the Cowboys 2 hours later. That's wild.
We would never.
That's wild.
We would never.
Somebody said something on Twitter I thought was hilarious, right? I was looking at Liam Cohen, and I said, yeah, Liam Cohen's my new pet cat offensive coordinator. I'm going to follow him throughout the year. So far, he's been doing great. I said, go figure, Liam Cohen comes from the McVay tree. And it's like, man, speaking of trees, this dude, Ben Johnson, just spawned the hell out of nowhere because he ain't on nobody's tree. And I was like, you're right, he ain't in nobody's tree. He just spawned.
He's just stealing.
He's just stealing everybody's shit.
He's stealing. Man, what we got to do to get one of them, Scott, man? Well,
I don't know, man.
Why we playing around?
I don't know, man. I don't know what we got to do. But, bro, I appreciate you coming through, doing this for me this morning. And I know you and We Doing All Right podcast ended about midnight last night. You know, Voch be dropping the You All Right podcast shows at 11:30. I wake up 25,000. I said, damn, man, that's how you know the We Doing All Right. I'm sorry, podcast is crazy.
Hey, man, you know, shouts out to Brian for keeping us up late. He's just like Foots. Foots can only work at 10 p.m. Central. It got to be the last thing you do. But I appreciate everybody that taps in with it at night. Then they wake up in the morning and watch it. And then when they're done watching, they watch you in the morning.
Somebody said that would take us 9 weeks to install.
Oh, yeah. We're not getting that till he get fired. Yeah, we're not getting that till he get fired.
Facts, man. You got Brian later today?
We got brothers every day. Brian be ready to work on YouTube, boy. So we got Brian every day, man. I got Bleach Report next. I got brothers later for sure.
Brian don't be looking tired at all. I don't know how he do it.
He be tired when we hit. Brian be like, yeah, man. Hey, shoot, we love y'all tapped in. And then as soon as I hit, all right, Brian shows up, he like, all right, man. Brian be tired, dog. Brian got 8 jobs.
Man, y'all are some hard workers, brother. Keep pushing that. What you got going on with him is amazing. And somebody in the chat said, y'all been saying this since I was 70. You're right, man. I know I'm like 77 now, but just be patient, man.
Come hang in there. Hang in there. A lot of moving pieces in this. Yo, look, this ain't a $40 operation. You know what I'm saying? This is, you know,
$40 million. But no, seriously,
they didn't build ESPN in 1 week. Man. There's some shit going on.
Just be patient. In the meantime, in between time, we ain't got to
But wait, there's more.
But you can come to Canvas Sports and Social down the Deep Element. Check me and Jesse out in our basically outside studio for the games. This Sunday we won't be down there, but you can still go down there and check out all the football games for your football viewing. The following Sunday, Cowboys Niners Sunday Night Football. Please don't let these Niner fans take over down there. Cowboys Nation, come through, check us out, get some good food, good vibes, good music, good peoples. Me and Jesse will be hanging out, covering the thing. We have pregame, halftime, post-game show. With that said, man,
they won't let me in over this guy.
Well, I know why they would.
He'll catch me at the door like, nah.
Wait, what's that, brother? No, we good.
We do not do that here.
Actually,
I ain't going in without it.
If I say he would, you good. So
I might pull up, keep everybody safe in there.
I'm just saying. But anyway, man, let me press this button, get up out of here. Voch got to get ready for Bleacher Report. I got to chop up some things. We will get with y'all tomorrow. You will get with them later today. I will get with y'all tomorrow. We have Patrick NOC Walker on to talk more Cowboys, man.
Push the goddamn button. Push the goddamn button.
Appreciate you, big bro.
Man, I appreciate you. You said, big bro? I'm like, wait. Oh, yeah, you're right. I am old.
You older, but I'm just larger in size.
But that's how it is with my brothers, too. Yeah. I'm older than all of them, but they all somehow, some way taller. But, you know.
You older than most people.
That's true. That's true. All right, man. We love y'all, Cowboys Nation. Peace.
Peace, y'all.